When performing custom development in Sitefinity, you may make changes that alter your local database. Fortunately, Sitefinity Cloud makes it easy to deploy local database changes to the staging and production environments. In this video, we'll review the process of publishing local database changes to the other environments. First, let's consider a common scenario that will cause a database change to occur. I'll open the local version of my code running on port 18080. If for some reason you don't already have your project running locally, make sure to check out the other videos in our Sitefinity Cloud series that explain how to get a copy of the local code and database running locally. The project I have running locally is the Coriander Lane restaurant demo site. On the home page of the site, there are some featured menu items. When I click a featured menu item, like salmon, I'm taken to the details view of that item where I can see the description, ingredients, and so on. Let's pretend that the owner of Coriander Lane has asked me to add a new field on this details page to show the salt content of each menu item. Having worked on this site before, I know that the menu items are stored in a dynamic module. I know that I'll need to add a new field on the module and then add the new field to the view. I'll log into the Sitefinity backend locally and go to Administration, Module Builder. I'll click Coriander Lane Corporate and then Corporate Food Items. I see all the fields for the item and click Add a Field. I'll give it a name, salt, type is number, and interface is a text box. I'll click Continue and click Done. Finally, I'll click Finish. I don't want to update the widget template as I will do that manually. Let's make sure our new field is present for the content editors by looking under Content, Corporate Food Items. Let's edit the existing grilled salmon item and we can see the new salt field is present. Let's add the number 2 for salt content and publish. Now, to see this value on the site, we'll need to modify the detail template. I'll work within a local branch named Food Details for these code changes. I'll open the view that controls the details and paste in the code to display the salt content. Now I can refresh the grilled salmon page and see the new salt value. It looks great, so I need to push my changes to the staging environment for review. To do so, I need to consider the view file that I just changed. But I also need to consider the database. When I added the field salt to the dynamic module, it made a change to my local database by adding the field there as well. So I'll need to make sure this field is added to the databases for staging and production environments as well. Sitefinity Cloud is configured to prevent users from making changes to the dynamic modules on staging or production. This is done to avoid potential conflicts between changes a developer might make and a content editor might make between the different environments. Instead of making the dynamic module changes in all environments, developers make the changes locally and use the Export for Deployment functionality that's part of Sitefinity. This feature packages up database changes in the source code as part of the deployment package. This makes the state of the DB schema in line with the state of the code base. As the package is deployed to staging and production, Sitefinity automatically updates the database as needed. This way, the source code and the packages that are produced are the single source of truth for DB schema changes. Let's see how this Export for Deployment feature works. I'll go back to the Sitefinity backend and look under Administration, Export Import. In the left menu, I'll select Export for Deployment and then click Export. Once the process is successful, you can see a message noting the data was exported to App Data, Sitefinity, Deployment. Let's open that path in Visual Studio. If I drill down into Dynamic Modules, then Coriander Lane Corporate, then Structure, you'll see that there are new files that are checked out from source control. This is because Sitefinity updated these files with a definition of the newly added field. An important note, If the deployment folder is not already included in your project, you'll want to right-click and include it so it will be part of the package that is deployed to staging and production. Also important to note, the export for deployment feature only affects the database schema. It's not used to move the actual data between environments. So when our code is deployed, I'll still need to log into the Sitefinity backend and update the values for the new salt field that we added. At this point, the source code has the needed changes for both the new database field and the view. So we simply need to follow the standard Sitefinity Cloud process for deploying code changes to the staging environment. This process is covered in detail in another video in our Sitefinity Cloud series, but I'll run through the steps quickly. First, I'll commit my changes to my local branch. Next, I'll push my changes to the remote repo. Then I'll go to the management portal and look under Repos, Pushes, and create a new pull request for my change. Then I'll approve the pull request and click Complete, which will trigger the CI pipeline. The CI pipeline will build the project. Then the CD pipeline will move the package, including the new database field, to the staging environment. Once that's complete, I can make sure the new field is present and working in the staging environment. Here we see the item details page with the new field, but the value 2 is missing. Again, this is because the export for deployment feature only affects the database schema. This is intentional so that content added by the developer does not accidentally end up in the production environment. Developers handle code and database changes, while the content editors handle content. For this demo, we'll log into the Sitefinity backend to add that value to the content item. Once that change is made and the front end looks right, I can push to production. I'll click on Pipelines, Releases, and approve the deployment to production. Once the code and database changes have been deployed to production, I'll need to edit the same food item on the production site to get the salt value to show. In this video, we reviewed the process of making a local database change and deploying that change to staging and production. We learned that Sitefinity Cloud prohibits changes in staging or production that alter the database schema. Instead, changes are made by a developer in the local database. Then, the export for deployment feature is used to package up the database changes in the source code of the project. The standard CI/CD deployment pipeline then moves the package to the other environments, and Sitefinity automatically handles the database changes. This enables the source code to be the source of truth for code and DB changes and avoids conflict between environments. This video is one of a series of videos about Sitefinity Cloud. Make sure to check out the other videos to learn about the many benefits of Sitefinity Cloud.